Hello and welcome back to CrossFit Harrow podcast. This is episode number 65 and today we have Yamana who joins us. Thank you for joining us, Yamana.
No worries. Thanks for inviting me.
The first question I always ask to everyone is why CrossFit Harrow? I've got actually a range of questions that I want to ask you based on the form that you filled in, but why CrossFit Harrow in the first place?
The thing is, I think I have been looking for a gym in general for over 2 years. And when I arrived to the UK, I thought now I have the mental capacity and the financial capacity to start looking after my health. So I actually used to play badminton. And then I went to I registered in a gym nearby. But the thing is, I wasn't seeing the progress that I want to see first. The second thing, I usually get really bored when doing something by my own. So I went to do something part of a group. And I live just right here, to literally 5 minutes walking from the center. So I thought, why not giving it a try? And my husband also recommended this for me.
Okay.
He haven't ever been here, but he knew that there's a center nearby. So I said let's try it at least. So I think I think the first few sessions were a bit new for me because I'm not used to the style, but I like the idea of being part of a group and doing it with a group of people and just starting together and having someone who would guide you through the process. It looked it looked to me like a personal training basically, but with a group.
On a group.
So that's why I thought CrossFit maybe is the thing that I want to do.
Good.
Nice. So far I've been seeing the improvement that I want to see.
Good, because it was September, October time.
That's right.
Came over. And when you said you played badminton, was that recreationally or you were playing competitively?
No, just individually, occasionally with a group of people, friends, not really something professional.
Badminton is actually quite a hard sport.
It is. I like it so much. And back home in my country, we do really play badminton a lot. In the street, we don't follow any kind of rules.
You just play?
Yeah, we just play. But then I was maybe it's the time to just be aware of the rules and try to play in a court with someone who is intermediate or above. So I started doing this in just a center nearby as well.
Yeah.
And I still do it.
You still do it? That's good.
Of course. I like it so much. CrossFit, CrossFit and badminton, they give me different kind of things. So CrossFit is for me to build my body and to do the thing that I want to do in terms of the shape of my body. But badminton is something that I enjoy doing it, with the friends sometimes. So. Yeah,
it's good. Some people can get so caught up in CrossFit and that's the only way. But it's good to be we recommend and even the kind of methodology of CrossFit is get out and play sports. There's things outside of the gym to go and do. It's not necessarily always about in the gym. But I want to ask you, obviously you said back home a minute ago. So for you, where is back home?
I was born and raised in Syria.
Okay.
In Damascus, to be specific. I moved to the UK in 2018.
Okay.
I was awarded a scholarship funded by the UK government to study in the UK. So I was lucky because I came to the UK on a flight. I was fortunate for that, while a lot of other Syrians, they came in different legal ways, just to survive. But I was lucky, I came on a student visa. And ever since I'm here in the UK studying and working and enjoying the life here.
Yeah? How was you selected?
Well, there's a scholarship called Achieving. And it is offered by the UK government for leaders around the world. So every year they select around 1,000 scholars from around 170 countries around the world. It's so competitive a process. So I was one of the 1,500 scholars who were selected out of 5,000 applicants.
Wow. So
the process were really competitive and I did really prepare for that over 2 years, I think.
Really? That was the preparation for it?
Yeah, just the actual preparation is around only 3-4 months.
Okay.
But to make yourself qualified, you need to build up some skills and obtain some qualifications. So I remember when I was studying, when I was doing my bachelor degree, I knew about the Achieving Scholarship, and it's a scholarship only for masters. So back then, I knew that, okay, I want to get this scholarship. I think I was in my second year at uni. It's I want to get this scholarship. So I just went to the website so like what kind of criteria and the scholars that they usually select, and like ever since I just like try to build up some skills, leadership skills and community work, just to make myself qualified for the scholarship. And in 2017, I started applying for the scholarship. I'm getting myself prepared. And yeah, in 2018, I got selected.
Wow.
And yeah, it was, yeah.
That must have been really proud moment.
Of course, yeah, because it was a challenging, because back then in my country, the situation was not safe at all. So it wasn't like I didn't have the mental capacity to look out like for my future. I was like really focusing on surviving basically. But I also knew that I need to build up a future, and that future need to be outside of Syria. So I prepared myself, and I think like because also of the situation in Syria, I had to do a couple of interviews for the scholarship in Lebanon. So I had to travel because in Syria there is no British embassy basically. I had to travel to Lebanon a couple of times just like to do the interview, to do the IELTS exam and like different other preparations. And that was like, sometimes was really hard to cover the cost as well, because I was working back then, but it's not like...
When you say, what was you doing for work? This is in Syria, yeah?
In Syria, yeah. So in Syria, basically, I was doing development and social development work. I like created multiple youth-led initiatives to help the community, something about displacement and poverty. And I think my last station in Syria was with the United Nations Population Fund. I was working for the United Nations to help gender-based violence survivors in Syria who were exposed to violence and sexual abuse, to obtain the services needed in different locations within the country. Basically my work was all about community work, and this is actually the area that the scholarship is interested in general. So they look out for leaders who like do stuff in the community.
Helping people.
Basically, yes, yeah.
Yeah. You touched on making a choice for survival. What did that look like? How? I mean, some of us are ignorant to it. We have not been in that environment. We maybe don't know. But I especially me, this is new. I'm learning quite a lot already in such a short space of time. But what did that look like in terms of, you say, survival?
So basically, sometimes I had to make some choices and decisions not because I want to, but because I had to. So I didn't have another solution. Basically, it's either to survive or die, and of course all people want to survive. So I was just planning ahead and looking after my future. And also because as I told you, I was born and raised in Syria, and the war in Syria started in 2011. And from 2011 to 2018, the war, of course, is going on. And I had different challenges because I was living in rural Damascus. It's an area that now is completely destroyed and demolished, and I had to move out of it several times. So for a short period of time, I was basically an internally displaced person, moving from a place to another place.
Just picking up your belongings.
Well, actually, sometimes we didn't have an opportunity to pick any of our belongings, and I think, and that was really devastating, because every time you go out, you think you will get back, and you don't really pick up a lot of stuff. Because I'm gonna get out. It's only a couple of days, maybe 10 days, 15 days, and I'm back. But we had different occasions when we went out of our homes. We didn't get anything, and unfortunately we're not able to get anything. So every time you move, we literally start from zero. And I moved within around 4 years. I changed my home, if I want to call it home, house, flat, whatever it is, around 7 times. And every time I move, I sometimes just in a backpack, I just put some clothes. My mom was always worried about the documents of the house and the properties that we have, but she didn't realize that we have honestly zero ownership or an authority on any of our properties. So regardless of having the papers, we don't have anything.
Yeah.
So just picking up the essentials actually.
Because it would have been from a mindset point of view, wouldn't it be well, maybe I'm wrong, that you would be going out to socialize with friends. You wouldn't be although that did happen, but there were happen, in the back of your mind, it was you're moving here, everywhere. not knowing what's going to happen next.
Yeah, definitely. And I remember a time like I was going to uni, and my university was in the middle of the center of Damascus, basically, and our house was in the rural Damascus. So I just like received a call from my mom in the middle of the day. Yeah, Yamana, please don't get back home because the situation is not really good and we had to go out. So come to your grandparents' house. So we had a couple of situations like this where we didn't really have the option, It's just like around you trying to survive, basically. So we made some choices because we had to. We wish that we didn't have to make that choices, but it's all about surviving. So
that's. I think some of us take things for granted and don't actually realise the severity of the things that go on.
Sure.
Obviously, life is much different now. How has I mean, I could ask you all day about the coming out of the like war zones, the obstacles and stuff. But what would you say out of that journey was your biggest obstacle or your biggest lesson?
I think the obstacles are many.
Yeah.
Some obstacles are like at the personal level and family level, and other about the society and the country that I was in. So like at the personal level, that because in Syria the culture is so like we do love our families a lot, and I know all people love their families, but in our case it's just like you spend all your life with your family, you never leave them unless you have to. It's like it has to be a really urgent matter for you to leave your family.
Because did you all move together? Everything was done together.
Yeah, and like in general in Syria or in any kind of Muslim culture, you don't leave the house of the family unless you get married or you have to travel outside of the country. So like my family is something that is really important for me, but sometimes you'll get overwhelmed because like every time you need to make a decision, you are not thinking about yourself, you are thinking about the 4 other people that are part of your family. So that was like sometimes a struggle for me, and also like something about the personal level. Sometimes you don't really get the mental health needed for you to flourish and progress. And I remember like when the war started in Syria, I was applying for the high school exam. And the high school exam in Syria, what we call baccalaureate, basically, it's the certificate that determines your university study. So I remember like studying at the night and protesters are outside, like missiles and rockets are landing on them. Like you hear the like bonfire and a lot of like really things that is not really good for someone to be studying in. It's just like a situation
constant state of fear.
Yeah, totally. I was like, I remember back then I was honestly sitting in my room and my sister, she was sleeping and I was studying, and like I was hearing all the thing happening around. It wasn't really, like the environment didn't really help that much. And that year was like really important for me because like after this year, basically your career and future will be determined. So the way like you study in Syria is different from the UK. So it's not like you decide what you need, your grade decide what you will be studying. So like that at the personal level, some mental health issues, and the environment wasn't really helping at all. And because like in my family, we are kind of from a rural kind of a background. So my parents didn't study and they don't really know how to read or write. They didn't even complete secondary school, but they were very keen on us, I mean me and my brother and sister, to study and obtain like a good kind of qualification.
Did you learn English from school?
Yeah, from school. In Syria, and I think when I was preparing myself for the interview, for the scholarship, I started to just watch some YouTube videos and try to.
Oh, really? Is that part of the way that you learn?
Because as I told you, financially, it wasn't really easy for me to cover the courses of English. So I had to use YouTube and other platforms just to improve my English, and other mobile applications. And it wasn't really easy at all. It was difficult, but and to be honest, the IELTS exam is a nightmare for any non-English speaker because you need to prepare for it, and based on it, you will determine if you will be traveling or sitting outside. So it was really challenging in general.
What was school like? Because I would imagine it's very different to the system that's here, right? What would it be like? You know, you do a whole day at school. What was it like?
Well, actually, the school is not really that much different from what is it here in the UK. The only difference I would say is actually the system, because I think here in the UK, like from age 15, you'll start to think about your future and what you want to do after GCSE.
Something, 15,
I'm
16,
not really familiar with the system.
Yeah, something
here,
around that,
But in Syria, it's much different, because we do have two main certificates. The one that you take when you are 15, and another one when you are 17.
So school stops at 17?
Basically,
okay.
And from 17 onwards, you study bachelor degree. We don't have like a college kind of thing. Just like you go to university or you don't study. And
what would someone do if they didn't go to university?
They would learn any other like
trade,
something or maybe something about plumbing, something about like hairstyling. And for those kind of occupations in Syria, you don't need to study for them. And also, like, if you are studying at university, you can learn this kind of not really sure what they call them, recreational kind of occupations. So you don't need a certificate for that. It's like a bit different from the UK, because you were telling me that at college you were teaching people sport and nutrition. In Syria, you like, if you want to do CrossFit, you don't need a qualification for that. You just need like the body capacity and the experience, basically. It's more about the experience, not the qualification that you have.
And what was was there like a PE day? Was there a sport day that you done at school? What was that?
Of course, we had. It's funny because like we had a couple of sessions at school, like maybe once a week. We have like around 50 minutes sport, but usually sport in Syria is not as important as math. So if like the math teacher is not on top of their like agenda, they will take the sport class and teach you math in it. So that did really happen, and especially like in these essential certificates that I've told you about, where like students really get very overwhelmed. So like the science teacher will take the sport or the music. Like those are not important things in Syria. Like they don't give them priority. So we have sport, we have music, and we have kind of recreational cooking kind of classes. And these three classes always replaced with math, science, physics.
Or maths again. What's a you said cooking. What's a typical Syrian dinner or food?
So, all right. So we have a lot of things. Like our cuisine is honestly, like we have a variety of meals, different meals. But the most popular one I would say is tabbouleh. Which is like, it's a salad. It's similar to the normal salad, but we use like different things in it. But I'm not really sure how I could describe that for you. And
what's in the salad? Is it just greens, vegetables?
It's basically tomatoes and cucumber sometimes, onion and burgle.
Is that like bulgur wheat?
The small one. And and you need like to add some dressing to it, but it's so popular in Syria. We of course have hummus. We call it in Syria, by the way, a different name. We call it msabbaha. It's actually the same hummus. But we call it msabbaha. And we have like something that I really like, and I don't think other cuisines have, is actually the yogurt. We cook the yogurt and we heat it.
You cook it?
So basically we have a very popular meal called shakriye, which is basically lamb cubes in a yogurt, and you cook the yogurt. So it's
I'm getting hungry as you say this.
It's really nice. I love it. So I think we are the only cuisine who cook yogurt.
Because it's interesting, because a lot of, obviously food is a big part of like, you know, family time and stuff, but in terms of like fitness and stuff like that, you wouldn't have really, you know, you wouldn't have looked at foods like proteins, like fats and carbs, like a lot of people just naturally do when they, you know, because of the you've been surrounded by in Syria. So have you adopted kind of like, it's not even a UK thing, it's more of a fitness thing now where you eat? Do you still eat as culturally as you would before, or has things changed?
Well, the thing is, I think in general, the Syrian cuisine is healthy because we have like we have actually different kind of things, and for each meal you can make it healthy or not. It's like your decision basically. And we have a lot of vegetarian kind of meals.
It's your decision. It depends on what day you feel like. It could be a good day or a bad day.
Yeah, totally. Because, for example, we have a lot of vegetarian meals, but you can always add some fat to it if you want to. But like for me, like I don't think my eating habits really changed, because back home I didn't like used to eat like a lot of unhealthy kind of food. My food is really all about a protein, and I don't eat fat. I don't eat any kind of fried food. I don't eat fries as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so...
Well, I suppose that wouldn't be something that you would make in Syria, right? When you were in Syria, you wouldn't... You would,
yeah. I think, in general, Syrians are aware of the unhealthy food, and, they are keen on not having that, but not like... and especially with the young people, among young people as a new generation. But if, like, you think about my grandmother, she is, of course, like, her meal, it's, like, high percentage of fat, but because... this is what Syrian food looked like to her.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to picture like a day in Syria and stuff. Like it wouldn't. Maybe in certain parts would there be places where you would go to eat out, or would you a lot of the time would be eating all together at home?
No, you would eat outside. If you are like at work, you would have your lunch outside. The thing is...
as in eating out you would go to a restaurant with that?
Of course, yeah. You would definitely, but not that frequent.
Okay.
Because, like, as I told you, in Syria, the family, they do all live together. So, like, whenever I come home, there's a meal for me prepared by my mom. And so I wouldn't really worry or have to go outside. The thing is that in Syria, like, here in the UK, during your working hour, you have 1 hour lunch. In Syria, we don't have this. If you want to like have lunch, you need to like dedicate that from your working hours. So there's no like set timing where you need to go out. And hence, we don't have this kind of culture. So we don't have, like for example, in Tesco, you would go and get a meal deal during lunchtime. In Syria, we don't have this kind of products. So if you are to go and eat like lunch, it's either you go to our restaurant and have a proper meal, or you bring something from home. But in general, we like eating together as a family, and like dinner is something so important usually. So after like you get back from work or school, like you will see like your parents, father, mother, sister, brother, they are waiting for you. Okay. So they would give you a call. We haven't eaten, please hurry up. So eating in general is a habit, like sitting all around and
family time.
It is family time, yeah.
Let's go back to the scholarship side of things. So now you got the scholarship, you're on a flight over to the UK. Paint that picture. What did that look like now?
Well, basically, I was really happy back then. And I remember when I received the news, I was at the office. And, sometimes you don't really need to tell your colleagues that you are leaving, or maybe your manager. It's like, I'm leaving the job. But I was so happy, so I wasn't able to just like keep it for me. It's like, I went to everybody I would see. It's like, I got a scholarship and I'm going out of Syria, and I'm going to the UK. It's like, it's really a dream for me since I was a kid. So I remember when I got the scholarship, I just like called my dad. It's like, Dad, I got the scholarship. And my dad started crying.
Oh, amazing.
And that was like a very important moment, because as I told you, my family is kind of religious Syrian family. And we have like the tradition is so important. So I remember my dad was different from my extended kind of family, but I remember like some of my uncles, they were not happy that I got the scholarship, because they think like
it would take you away from family.
Yeah, and because like females are not supposed to travel alone. So how would I go outside of my country and live by myself? If it was a boy, okay, that would be understandable because of the military service and a lot of stuff. But for girls, they are not really allowed or encouraged to go out. So when I received the news, I called my dad, and he was honestly really happy. And he always say, go and find a way to bring us, because he wants to go out of Syria as well. But for my uncles, grandparents, and like other cousins, it's like, are you leaving? Oh, they would like actually speak to my father and convince him not
to send.
Yeah, totally, because it's not part of the culture for girls to travel on their own.
Have there been a lot of obstacles and a lot of challenges you face being female and being Muslim that has stopped you?
Yeah, at the personal level, no. It was actually a motivation for me. I wanted to challenge the status quo. So whenever like I was in Syria, I was like setting an example of how an like independent girl could be, and I was like motivated by the fact that I want to set an example for girls that they can do it by like on their own, and also motivate some family members as well. But is it a challenge? It is, and I know personally a lot of girls who got really awesome opportunities in Syria and they were not allowed to go out and benefit from it. And I have friends who got the scholarship, but then their family said, okay, go study, but you will be coming back. You are not allowed to stay in the UK. And a friend of mine, she went back to Syria this year, and honestly, she is devastated because she doesn't want to do this. She doesn't want to like be living in Syria, and because of the safety and the opportunity, a lot of stuff, but she has like zero power over that.
I mean, a lot of people would think because of the opportunities, but actually probably the top of the list is like the safety of the individual, right?
It is safe, and it is like a place where like you can basically speak, voice up your needs and not be like afraid of someone taking your home. It's like you have like ownership of what you have, basically. In Syria, you don't have that right.
And there's absolutely no way of speaking out, like it's a culture, it doesn't happen in that.
It's not an option. You can speak out, but you need to run the risk of being...
The consequences, let's say.
Yeah. So, but yeah, a lot of people have been silent, and the people who want to speak are either outside the country or unfortunately detained. So but it is challenging. It is. It's not only for girls. It's challenging for anyone in Syria. But of course, like females in general, because of the culture and religion, are facing a lot of obstacles.
Do you still face some of those obstacles today?
Not really.
Not really.
Because now I think I'm very independent. First. Second, like the people that matters to me from my family side are on my side, so I wouldn't really worry about the others. And because I'm surrounded by people who really think like me, so I'm in the bubble that would suit me, basically. So I don't think I'm facing any of these challenges.
Good. Okay, so your dad supported you. You've come over to England. Where are you? Heathrow, Stansted. What happens next? Where do you go from here?
Yeah, the funny thing that my first flight to London was my first flight in life.
Wow.
I've never been on a flight before.
So how tell me about that. Was that like a really weird experience?
Well, it was really weird and funny because now when I remember...
Because you were 17, 18, 19?
Back then I was 23.
Oh, 23.
Yeah,
because sorry. Okay.
I went to study my master's degree.
Okay.
Yeah, and the funny thing, the people who were accepted in the scholarship, I was the youngest one in my group. And it was my first flight. I was honestly really anxious about it because also I had to travel from Lebanon because in Syria the airports are not really working or operating. So I think, I traveled to Lebanon. Went from Beirut, and when I was on the flight, I didn't know how to fasten my seatbelt.
Oh, right.
I had no idea how to do it, so I was like just observing how would like someone else do it, and luckily the girl was sitting just next to me. She that flight was her first flight in life, and she was going out of Turkey because I had to transit in Turkey. It's like, all right, so I'm like, let's discover this together. Do you know how to fasten the seat? It's like, well, actually, I don't. Okay, then I'm gonna try and not be embarrassed because
there's two of you.
Of course, I was like, okay, but then I figured that out. And I remember when in the airport, one of my friends was waiting for me, but unfortunately, for some reason, he wasn't being able to be at the airport on time. So he told me, okay, Yamana, I was at Heathrow back then. I was like, okay, Yamana, take the train from Heathrow to Green Park. I was like,
what?
Totally, I've never seen a train in my whole life.
I was about to say,
in Syria, we don't have a train. I've never used this. Like, okay, and I had like a lot of luggages on me. So it wasn't easy to move around, and also I didn't have like a SIM card. I had only the internet on my mobile, and you know when you go out of Heathrow, you don't
There's
have
no Wi-Fi.
no
Well, yeah,
Wi-Fi.
yeah,
There's
yeah.
no Wi-Fi. I was like, all right. It's like I was honestly up to cry. It's like, okay, I'm gonna hold it. Okay, you I don't have any other solution. So I went out of the gate following the signs, but I reached a point I honestly don't know where to go, and I need to charge this Oyster kind of card because I didn't.
That
have,
was new as well. You went
of
in
course,
that,
yeah, because back home we don't have online banking, so there's nothing you go like take your card and tap. There's nothing such a like tap your card. So I was like, okay, so I need to top up my Oyster card. And then I saw someone, I was like, excuse me, could you please help me? I want to top up my Oyster card and go through the chain. I was like, where are you from? I was like, I'm from Syria. I was like, okay, I'm from Algeria. And he spoke Arabic. I was like, when God send you like these beautiful
messages,
people.
yeah.
Literally. And I was like, okay, he helped me top up the card. He took my luggages and helped me and put me on the tray. I was like, okay, see, here's like green bar, go for it. So yeah, that was honestly.
How lucky was that?
I was honestly so lucky, yeah. Yeah, it's like when I told my mom, it's like, this is what happens, this is my prayers. I was like, yeah, it is, yeah. So yeah, it was, this is maybe my first culture shock.
Wow, that's because we take that for granted. It's just something that we're like, here we're used to, you
totally, yeah.
Tap, you move on the transport.
And I remember like I was sitting in the train totally anxious because like I was scared to miss the station. Stop. And because of the accent, when the announcement was like going back, I wouldn't like actually understand the accent. It's like, okay, I was like looking forward to the station. Well,
I suppose you wouldn't have known what to expect when you got onto the train.
Yeah,
you wouldn't know whether you had to tell someone you wanted to get off. You didn't know whether you had to ring a bell. Anything.
Yeah, totally. I didn't know what to expect. Yeah.
Amazing. So you settled. Have you been in since you come over from Syria? Were you always in Harrow?
Not really. I think my first station was Old Street.
Okay.
And then I moved from Old Street to Kentish Town, and ever since I'm in Harrow.
Because your job title is project coordinator, and that's what you do now. And have you progressed into that from when you came over? Yeah.
So basically, when I came to the UK for 1 year, I didn't do any work because I was studying, and my masters were full time. So I had like really to focus on that. So I wasn't studying, I wasn't working for 1 year. And after that, when I've graduated, I started applying for jobs.
I suppose that 1 year of not working though also gave you an opportunity to kind of find out where you was, what was around you. Although you were studying, but it was probably good that you needed that time.
Yeah, actually, I think, and if I had a chance to work, I wouldn't do it because I told myself that I want to really enjoy it, because in my bachelor study, I was honestly hustling between studying, working, moving houses, displacement, and the safety and security issue. So in my master's, I took a decision that I need to enjoy this year and not worry about anything else, but like just studying and having like some nice colleagues at university, and that's it. So yeah, I was honestly just focusing on studying. And after that, I started applying for jobs. And yeah, I was lucky. I found a job very quickly.
Yeah.
And I started working for a housing association called Peabody.
Okay,
and Peabody is a nice organization, and it has been operating in London for around 150 years. And they just like build houses around London. And my work is basically around helping residents start their own businesses.
Okay.
So we offer grant for residents, Peabody residents, and my work is all about mentorship and support and some kind of financial entrepreneurial kind of support. So yeah, so I enjoy my work.
Yeah, it sounds like a really good role actually.
It is nice. I do work with young people a lot. It is something that I enjoy, and I used to do it in Syria as well. Too. So I do have like kind of experience with that. Yeah.
Did you find adapting to UK life hard?
Not really. It wasn't like a culture that I wasn't familiar with. I know I've never went out of Syria. I just like traveled for Lebanon only because it's a nearby country, but because of like I watch a lot of movies and TV programs, so I was like familiar with the culture kind of, and because in my work with the United Nations we had a lot of international colleagues coming from different countries, so I kind of like knew about the context here and the challenges. I had also a couple of friends who took the scholarship some years before
previously,
me.
right.
So just I kept chatting with them, and they kind of told me about the life in the UK and how things work here. But that doesn't mean that I didn't face like some challenges here.
Yeah, because
of
even
course.
Technology, right, would have been
Sure,
different.
and there are like some challenges that come from your identity as a person, and some challenges come from the country and the context. So I faced some challenges, but honestly, I was able to overcome them, and I had like a nice supporting system.
That was actually going to be one of my next questions about support system. We spoke, or you mentioned about your husband and how he helped you settle. Talk to me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so I remember when I came to the UK, I met my husband, and back then he has been in the UK for 7 years now. So he is like quite knowledgeable like in the area and what to do. So he was like quite an asset for me to get used to the life, and also to really enjoy it, because like for any Syrian, not only Syrian, any immigrant, when they flee a country and come to a one that is developed, we do have our own like trauma kind of experience, and we do always worry about our family. So like if you literally, I remember for the first year, like if I would go to a restaurant, I would feel guilty for it, because I would say
it's not normal for you. It didn't feel natural. You were used to eating at home.
Totally. I was like, what? Like, it's not okay for me back then to go to a restaurant and enjoy a £30 kind of meal while my family is under like in a war zone.
Yeah.
So you always would feel guilty for it, even if you are traveling with friends. Okay, you would say I'm here having fun and my family is struggling. So you need like you have kind of what they call it, survival kind of issue.
Yeah.
For people who survived, they do always feel guilty for anything they do. Yeah, but I think my husband was an asset, and I'm grateful that I was able to meet him, and he is a really nice person as well.
So with your parents being back in Syria and you having met your husband, did you like as a Muslim, like as a female, how was that? Did you have to ring them, tell them?
Well, of course, because
like there's certain rules, right?
Of course, there's a rules for this. So basically in Syria, like things doesn't work that way. So in Syria, for a person to get married, the traditional kind of way is like the family of the man would come to the family of the girl and ask for the hand of the girl, and after that they would like basically everything should go through the family. Yeah, but he when I met my husband, it was a different kind of scenario, because first of all, and it's something that I'm so proud of, because I'm the one who asked my husband on the first date, and that was like something really unusual for a girl, and also coming from Syria.
Yeah, of course.
And but because for me, I was in a position that I do want to make my own choices, and I'm in a country where there is no one who would judge me, and there is no like culture or society kind of pressure. So I'm here, I can make my own decisions. So when I met him, I liked him, and I asked him on a date.
Amazing, that is such a good story.
Yeah, and I think when like we started like chatting and getting to know each other, and when I felt I think this is the right man for me, I went to my dad and told him that I met a Syrian guy in like a kind of Syrian gathering, and he asked me if he could speak to my family. I didn't tell him the true story, because if I had done that, it wouldn't be accepted. So, and he said, that's totally fine. Like, let him know that he can call us, his mom can call us. And and after that, my dad told me, okay, try to get to know him. My dad is not really traditional, but he also liked to keep everything in order. Yeah. It's like, okay, there's no wrong if you're going out with someone and trying to get to know them, but of course, like keep it like in a formal kind of way. So yeah, and after that, yeah, we are engaged, and then we got married. And in our wedding, we had no one from our families because none of them were able to come to the UK. So we had only a couple of friends. And we had a really nice wedding.
Amazing.
And also, yeah, a nice thing that I'm also proud about, that I have proposed to my husband, and I was so proud and happy to do it. And
you should be. That is.
Yeah, and also to have like the choice, coming back to the choice thing, because sometimes you don't have the choice.
Well, I suppose growing up for you, a lot of the things you didn't get the choice for. The choice was made for you. So for you to be able to make that choice is a big thing for you.
It is. Yeah. And I think like for a decision that would shape the rest of your life, you need to have ownership of that decision.
Of course. Yeah. I think that's a sensible thing.
Yeah. So I was happy, and after we got married, I told my father and mother's true story. And it was like, okay, you are like, he's your husband now, we can't say anything. But they knew that I made the right choice, and they see the outcomes of that choice. So they do trust me, and I'm grateful for that.
Good. Okay, and then you went. I'm just trying to go back with the story was. You've met your husband. You're in work. You're achieving through work, and then that's when you found CrossFit. Yeah. Before kind of that little bit, was over the years, has sport or fitness been really important to you?
Of course, yeah. I think, yes, sport was like always important to me. And also in Syria, I tried to go to a couple of gyms. Unfortunately, in Syria, we don't.
Do they have that resource?
We do have that resources. It's not like as nice as in the UK, but we did have some options.
Because there were actually some really, I don't know their names, but there's some really big Syrian weightlifters. And bodybuilders,
we have a lot of options, and actually we have CrossFit in Syria. We have like Zumba and a lot of like other classes. We do have everything basically, but you wouldn't see the issue that I would say is not with the equipments, but is that with the expertise and the people who are training you. This is the only issue, because I think the people who have the experience traveled out of Syria because they wanted
for more opportunities,
basically. So we had a couple of resources, but nothing like really would satisfy me. And back then I was doing it on my own, using some mobile applications and sometimes like YouTube videos, just like to do some exercises. But when I came to the UK, my husband, of course, encouraged me, and also my brother-in-law. He has been playing CrossFit for over 7 years.
Oh wow! Yeah, here in the UK.
No, he is in Dubai.
He's in Dubai,
and he is a professional. He has some qualifications. I'm not really sure what they are called.
Okay.
But I visited their center once, and honestly, it's a huge and nice. It's really nice.
I know there's a CrossFit Yas in Dubai.
I don't know the names.
That's the only one that stands out for me that I remember.
But he is a professional, so he did really inspire me. He does like post a lot of videos on Instagram, so I was like inspired by the videos. And I knew also this is like CrossFit is not like a kind of guys only kind of sport.
That's like something I want to get into
for females and males. So that's why I was like, maybe this is the right choice for me, and I can meet some people. And also because I wanted to integrate with people like who are different from me, just to integrate in the British society. So I thought maybe through the CrossFit I would be able to meet some friends and just like go
the community
out of
element.
Basically go out of my bubble and meet some new people.
That's amazing. So that was one of the things I wanted to ask you is, the challenges that you might have faced going into like gyms, or as with cultural rules and society's rules, let's say, but haven't really experienced negative aspects of that here.
Not really.
That's
I don't think like no one ever said anything to me. Of course, like you have these people, not only in sport kind of.
In the world.
In general, that would look at you in a different way because like of my headscarf, some people are not really familiar of what like this is, and so they would feel weird. So they would like give me some like stare at me. I remember like one day in the train, I was in the tube. just like waiting for the next station, and someone just like kept looking at me and just like chatting with their friends. So I totally understand. Maybe I'm not really a familiar face in the UK, but I've never been attacked for that. I think, yeah, maybe only once, I think, but no one like really hurt me. But
Good.
yeah,
Let's hope it stays that
yeah,
way.
I hope so. Yeah, but yeah, you always like have people who would stare at you, see that there's something different. But yeah, I think sometimes that would be a challenge.
Yeah.
I think that like when I came to the CrossFit Harrow, I was a bit hesitant because like for me playing and wearing my headscarf, and it's not really a familiar kind of thing. So and I hope that I would find people who would look like me, just like to feel myself part of the group. But yeah, I think yeah, the people here are really welcoming and they are really nice, and I'm just trying. I'm getting used to it. Yeah.
Okay.
And I think yeah, UK in general or London is a very diverse kind of place. So you would feel like there's like for every person, they would feel there's people who would look like them.
Yeah, of
and not only Muslims. I mean
anyone. Yeah. Am I right in saying that there are at different stages of a Muslim female's life, different headscarves, they mean different things? Is that right?
Yeah, they do. It's just like it depends on how religious you are.
Okay.
And how much you are willing to practice the religion in general.
Okay.
So yeah, there are women who do cover their head. There are women they don't. It's just like all about your beliefs, basically.
Are they also choices that the women will make?
It's a choices, yeah, of course. So some people would find it weird if a Muslim girl is not wearing a headscarf. No, there are a lot of Muslims girls that wouldn't. Because they don't want to, and there are other girls who would wear it and then take it off because they like after a while they would say, yeah, maybe this is a thing not for me. But yeah, you could always try, and of course there's a challenges with like
whichever route you.
Yeah, there's always a challenge, but it depends on you and your supporting system again.
Do you ever plan to go back to Syria for see the family?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, actually, I've been planning like from last year. I wanted to visit my family, but because of the COVID and all of it, I wasn't able to do that.
What's that situation like in Syria? Is that
in terms of safety?
Yeah,
I would say now it's safe in the sense that if you are walking on the street, there is not a rocket will land on you and kill you, basically.
Wow.
But in terms of the system. And no, it's not safe. If you would say something that is not.
Would it be safe for a British white individual?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it would be okay. If you mean about British white, it would be definitely safe because in Syria we don't really differentiate between skin color. We don't really care about this kind of stuff because in Syria we have white, we have black, we have actually different kind of ethnicities. So you would see different ethnicities in Syria. So we don't really pay attention to that much. In terms of nationality, from the government side, that person might struggle a bit. But from the community side, we don't really we don't care about that. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But yeah,
and it shouldn't matter in any country.
Yeah.
I don't think it should
matter. But from the government side, they would ask why a British person would be in Syria. It's like, what are you doing here?
What do you want from here?
Yeah, totally. It's like, yeah, they would also always assume there's an agenda behind it. So yeah, it's a bit funny, yeah, but that's true.
That's crazy. It blows my mind.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it's like I think in Syria or any other developing country or country that is not really democratic, you would see stuff that you wouldn't imagine. This is not only the case in Syria.
Yeah,
the case of a lot of other countries actually. But I could reflect because I'm Syrian.
Yeah. And then what are the plans for you for the next 6 months? What do you want from the next 6 months, 12 months? Have you got any personal goals that you want to achieve through work or through fitness?
Yeah, actually through work, let's start with that. I have just got a promotion.
Oh wow, congratulations.
I'm going to be starting the new job in 6 months, in 1 month.
Okay,
so
well
it's
done.
In the same organization, but it's a lead position. Lead local area plan, which is basically about designing different interventions for a group of boroughs in London.
Comes with a lot more responsibilities,
of
obviously.
course, yeah, it's a lot of responsibilities and like a new kind of learning opportunity. So yeah, I'm very excited for that. Just like doing the handover kind of stuff now.
So that's, for work-wise, that's going to be the
Yeah.
kind of top of what you want to achieve.
Yeah. Also, I think as I told you, I do development in general. So I'm working on a research recently, and I think this research is so important for me because I'm just studying the relationship between the law in Syria and gender-based violence, and trying to just like suggest a pathway for law reform in Syria. So I'm really excited for that. At the personal fitness level, I don't really have a goal in mind, but for me it's so important to stay fit. This is like a priority, and also to stay in shape, and also like to have a better like body looking and body shape. So yeah, I'm aiming for that. There's like nothing in particular. I'm not really aiming to go into a competition or this kind of stuff because I want to like keep it casual. So I think I'm gonna soon be starting some violin classes.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, I've always like wanted to learn any musical instrument, and in Syria I didn't have the luxury for that. So now I think, I have the financial ability and I have the time above all. So why not go for it? So I thought, maybe I would give myself a gift, get myself a violin and some
That's
violin
impressive.
classes.
That's really amazing. Yeah. It's interesting to hear your goals actually, because I think with like the life that you've lit, the years that have passed you and the things that you've seen, although fitness is important to you, like there's been other things in your life that have been so much more important that make you not value it in certain ways. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's you know what, like at different stage, it's according to your mental health and resources, you would make your decisions. But for me, like now in the back of my head, I always have this goal of helping my family, and like every now and then I support my family in different means, and I have like always that goal of bringing my family to the UK. I have no power over this, but if I would have the chance, I was like, every now and then I hear about a family that came from Syria to the UK. I was like, I try to see how they would be able to do that and see if I can bring my family. But I think if my family here in the UK, I wouldn't have that as a priority. I would think about something else. So it's all about like your goals. It's all about what you are missing at the moment and try to fulfill that. It's basically about your needs. Yeah.
Very interesting way to put that. The last question I'll ask you is obviously like with the adverse things that you've seen and stuff, like what do you do to stay so mentally strong?
I'm not really sure. I don't really have an answer for that, because it's just like sometimes you don't really think about it that much, because when you are into the moment, you just like need to get like to fix things and find solutions. You don't really get to see the overall picture. But I think like during when I was in Syria, I think I had some mental health issues, but I didn't realize that. I think like from 8 months ago, I have started to realize that actually I had some issues back then, but I didn't notice them because I was in a rush. I was hustling. I was trying to just like find solutions to my reality.
Like quick fixes for you to be safe as well.
Basically, yeah. So I wasn't really paying attention for that. And also like in Syria, in different countries, mental health is not really an important kind of subject. It's now recently becoming an important thing and people are speaking about. But I think, yes, when I came to the UK for the first 3 months, was like honestly very depressed, very lonely, and I thought like I wasn't. And the surprising thing that I didn't also know that I'm facing that kind of challenges, because when you are into it, you wouldn't see it.
It's when you stop sometimes, you actually reflect and go, actually
I was facing that challenge. Yes. And I think after like the 3 months, I have started to seek mental health support and trying like to get them talking therapy kind of sessions, just like to fix what the situation and the war in Syria had done to me.
Yeah, of course.
And I think doing CrossFit did really help in that matter as well. Just like being active. Like for me, I do really find pleasure in achievements. So when I come to every session and I go out sweating and feeling really tired, I feel like a sense of ownership and like a sense of achievement, and that would really change my mood. And I also, like, in any therapy session that I've done, they always say, please exercise. And for me, I try to exercise, but as I told you, I'm someone who would get bored really easily and would get distracted as well. So I need someone who would always like grab my attention and like help me focus. So I think with CrossFit, I was able to do that because it's a group activity. You are doing this with a group. There's someone who is like observing and watching you, and if you do something wrong or go out of track, they would let you know. So you still like, you need to just like spend an hour not thinking about anything else but CrossFit. So yeah, I think that was a nice thing that CrossFit has given to me as well.
Amazing. That was such a good close. Yamana, thank you very much for your time. It's been an amazing story.
Thank you so much, and yeah, thank you for inviting me as well.
No problem. Guys, join us back next week.